some of you think that just because you're typing something and not saying it to somebody's face, that it doesn't have the same power. And I disagree. Well, hey there, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. Let me try to remember what episode this is because some of you are going to want to tell your friends. It's episode 479. And this in particular is for my business owners who post on social media for their business. This is going to be helpful to you. You're going to want to forward to some of your friends, but this is also for those of you who are just consumers, on social media, and you like following different people and commenting on things. And what I'm hopeful that I can do is tell you a little bit of a story that will just help all of us just be better, just be nicer, just be different, okay, than the world on social media. So here's what happened. Last week, I traveled to the Panhandle of Florida, where we already own one Airbnb, Bougie on the Beach, to look at a second property on the Panhandle. So I went down there, looked at an investment property. It was fabulous, came back. And I told Jason I needed to post something on my Facebook page that night. And I was thinking of all the different places in the world, that you can own properties to use as investment properties, Airbnbs, et cetera, et cetera. And so I posted a picture of, and you can go to my Facebook page for Jennifer Allwood. It's, got 360,000 followers. You should find it pretty easily. There's a check mark behind it. I'm verified on there. Didn't pay for that verification. That happened 8 years ago, which is really cool. But anyhow, so I posted a picture of one of the bedroom views, which is looking out into the ocean. It was pretty. And then I want to read to you what I said. Okay. So I've got Facebook up. So I'm not paraphrasing. This is exactly, I said, just got back from a quick 24-hour trip to Florida to look at another investment property. We're hoping to have our third Airbnb closed by the end of the year. This is a before shot of one bedroom view, just for fun. I'm going to put my mood board in the comments of how this room will look. Brace yourself, meaning I knew that people would be a little shocked by the color. And then I said, this was the call to action. I'm curious, if you could have an Airbnb property, what city and state would you have one in? Okay. So that's exactly what I said. Then, knowing that a lot of my Facebook fans used to follow me for my decorating, my painting, my DIY, I put a picture of the mood board that I literally just created on Instagram stories by copying and pasting into the first comment of the post. Okay. And here is what I wrote with that picture, because it's very bold. All right. It's hot pink, and orange, which is, a lot of people are going to be for a beach. And so I was, that's fine. But but I know a lot of people, they love to see what my vision is for things. So I put this picture, again, this is just a mood board that I created from scratch as not a mood board, person. So it says, okay, I wrote, do not judge my picture editing skills, but this will be the primary bedroom design. Okay. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say, hey, what do you think of this? Hey, I didn't say, do you like this bedroom that I've designed? I didn't say, would you give me your opinions below? I didn't say, hey, tell me what you think about this in an Airbnb. I said none of those things. All right. And so I was shocked, you guys, by a lot of the crappy comments. And I do understand that sometimes people skim over the words on a post really quickly. And so perhaps a lot of people failed to read what I wrote. Perhaps they thought, giving them just what's the word? This is menopause, the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they just didn't read the words. Maybe they skimmed over that quickly. And, just kind of skimming and misinterpreting. I mean, that's at an all-time epidemic, right? So maybe people thought I was asking for an opinion, but also maybe not. Okay. And so I got a lot of crappy comments. And I do want to say, first of all, there's a big difference between trolls, haters, and also just, Susan and Linda, who are real live women who are commenting negative things on social media that have a tendency to sting and are going to bear no fruit. Okay. There's a huge difference between that. There are trolls and haters. There are bots, those things. I did a whole podcast, episode 449, if you want to listen to it, on how to handle those. That's something different. I'm literally talking about someone who's, laying in bed at night. She saw my post. She's allergic to the color orange. And so commenting where she doesn't need to. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So go listen to 449 if you actually want to hear about my thoughts about trolls and haters and how to respond to them. So, can I read to you just a couple of the crappy comments? I mean, none of them are absolutely obnoxious. None of them are attacking my personal character or me as a human being. And yet, when you have a post with how many comments does this post have? Okay, let me see. This post has, I think, 500 comments. One or two you could be like, okay, and you can overlook, which to some degree, I think that we need to have some tough skin. I've literally talked publicly about this on the podcast, in my coaching groups, etc. But then also, like, let me just read some of these to you, okay? Because Carrie says that is too much color to be a restful space. It's a little overstimulating, okay? Stephanie says, I really love color, but I just cannot handle orange. It's so cute, but I wouldn't rent it. Sorry, Jennifer, it would stress me out. I'm not a fan of beige either. By the way, to which I responded, hey, Stephanie, when you get your own B&B, then definitely don't put orange or beige in it, LOL. And I was starting to feel a little snarky. And I'm like, Jen, watch it. Watch yourself. Be better. I always remember that saying, when others go low, you stay high. And so I was like, don't stoop. But, I just kept going. Why post pictures if you're not looking for comments? Everybody has different tastes. This is not what I would consider a relaxing room decor, but maybe others would love it. I mean, I can literally listen to Darlene like saying that. Okay. Why post if you're not looking for comments? Ooh, that's interesting. Is this the world we are now in? Like, so let me just ask Darlene. Let's say you were to post your one of your kiddos, most recent homecoming photos, and people didn't like your daughter's dress. I don't even know if Darlene has kids or not. But so is that like, if you're not looking for comments, Darlene, then don't post a picture of your daughter in her dress. Because what if there's people that hate the color, hate the shape, hate the neckline, thinks it's too short? Like, is this the world we live in, where it's only okay to post if you're also okay with negative comments? I mean, what have we fallen to as like just a culture, if that's the thinking? Okay, let me keep going. Mary says, Jennifer, it's just too busy to me. And I showed my hubby and he said, nope, it's just too in your face. Okay, do you know me? I'm pretty much in your face when it comes to color. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, I'm wearing the Allwood Family Power color. I'll stand up and show you. I'm wearing my leggings in that color. I'm wearing my sweatshirt in that color. By the way, it's Spanx. I cannot even tell you how much I love all of the leisure wear from Spanx. It feels like I'm wearing butter. It's just literally, I'm obsessed with it. Thank you to my friend Ashley, who told me to go get this color of blue because she knows it's our Allwood Family Power color. But when you say it, the decorating is in your face, I mean, that's kind of what I'm known for. Have you seen my home on the internet at Jennifer Allwood Home? Have you looked up Bougie on the Beach on Instagram? Have you looked up Bougie in the Desert? I mean, I love color. So she continues on by saying accents in pink and orange would probably be cute with the pink walls. It's a lot. When I'm at the ocean, I prefer relaxing, calming, and tranquil settings. I don't know if it was her or one of the other 500 people, but I commented back like, I can't handle being in an all white or all beige or all gray aesthetic. I couldn't stay in that. I don't like it. That doesn't make me feel calm. That feels really clinical. It feels like a hospital. It makes me feel antsy. I need to be in color. So, to each their own. But what I'm saying is like, it's okay for you to have your thoughts, but do you need to post it? Tina says, well, Jennifer, this is great for a teenage room, but I wouldn't stay in it. It's not calming for me, but to each their own. And exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, to each their own. Tina, was it necessary to even comment then? Like, is it possible that as human beings, we've just started to be okay with just bad internet behavior? Is there a level of, is there like a standard that we just really need to like hold ourselves to? Because I was really disappointed in a lot of my followers. I'm not going to lie. I read their comments, a lot of them, and then I went to bed. And I had somebody comment, I got a little snarky, like I said, oh, because here's what I wrote. Hang on. I wrote, I'm really hoping that some of you are going to remember your manners and remember that you can scroll by without pausing to tell me how you don't like something that's literally something I designed and created. Why do you need to do that? Why do you need to give your negative opinions when no one asked? I said that. And most of the negative comments would never have had the guts to, or most of the negative commenters, I continue to say, would never have the guts to post one of your own creations on the internet. But yet you feel that it's okay to criticize mine. It's disappointing, honestly. And this is why so many creators and business owners get hesitant to even post. And then I said, for those of you who said nice things, here's another bedroom design I made. And I went ahead and just posted that. And it's like this blue and orange wallpaper going in bedroom number 2 that has like huge crabs the size of a paper plate on it. So I'm like, I'm just, people, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and post that. So I had someone named Kristen who said, well, personally, I like it, Jennifer, but you can't get upset when people disagree. You can't post these. So I didn't give my opinion and somebody disagreed. Like I didn't say, I think orange is the best color in the world. And then for people to say, no, I think blue is, no, I think green is, like that's disagreeing. I posted pictures of something that I designed. There is nothing to disagree with. This is a matter of I like it and you don't, and that's okay. She continues to say, you can't post pictures and expect only people who like it to respond, unfortunately. And I said, actually, Kristen, I can. Here's what I said. I completely disagree with you, Kristen. People have lost their minds on the internet. They type things they would never say to someone's face. And I always remember this saying from Dr. Phil. Opinions, if they are not asked for, are always interpreted as criticism. Here's what I think. We have just gotten to this place in society where we think it's okay to say anything on the internet. And we think that people who have large followings should just have to take it, that it's part of my job. And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. What other job in the history of jobs has to just be okay with people just, completely telling them over and over how much they dislike how they're doing their job, what they're building, what they're creating, what they're making? There isn't one. Why is it that people think, okay, if this person has a decent sized following, or if she just is doing this for a business at all, that gives you like open season to say anything you want? Like, when did we decide that as just humans? When did we decide this is her job, just to take people's comments? No, that's actually not my job. That is not actually my job at all. I also wanted to say to somebody who was saying that you can't post a picture and not expect only people who like it to respond. So I wanted to say back to her, hey, listen, Kristen, if you were to post a photo of the new haircut you got just on your Facebook, right? And just be like, hey, got my haircut today, which is a statement. That's a period. Okay, there's no what are your thoughts? Question mark. It's just a period. Hey, I got my haircut, which is essentially what I did with a picture of the condo and a picture of my mood board. So are you saying that would you be okay with you posting a photo of yourself? Hey, got a new haircut today. And then you need to be okay then also, if that applies to me, then that applies to you. Then you need to be okay with people coming out and saying, I dislike your haircut. I think brown is a terrible color. I don't think that works for your face. When I go get my haircut, I do this. You think that because this is my job and that I have a large following, that it's okay. And it's not. I had someone else say, anytime you ask for opinions, you've got to be prepared to receive the opinions. And I responded back, but I didn't ask for any opinions. I asked, where would you own an Airbnb if you could? I just shared something that I created in my off time, something I've stared at for hours and that I love. I didn't ask for an opinion. Some of you just want permission to post crappy comments on Facebook, and I'm not giving it to you. I'm not giving it to you. And so I want to remind my listeners, who I think are the best people on the internet, despite that post, I just want to call you up to a different form of behavior. Okay. I want us to be people that look different on social media, even if we see others posting crappy things. For those of you who are my listeners on this podcast, my followers on social media, I just want to make sure that we remember a couple of things about internet etiquette, commenting, etiquette, etc. Okay. Number one, can I just remind you that behind every business Facebook page, behind every social media account, unless it's a huge global brand, like something like Taco Bell or Starbucks, it's a real life person. It's a real life person like me. And by the way, real life people like me have feelings. And that saying of sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a bunch of lies, friends. It is something made up that we tell children. Okay. If that was accurate, then why do we have grown adults walking around everywhere right now in need of therapy or in therapy or still living out their behaviors today based on words that were spoken to them as a child? Okay. So the whole sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's a lie. It's a lie. Please be mature enough to remember that the Bible says in Proverbs that like life and death are in the power of your tongue. Life and death come from what you say. And by the word, words spoken, and I think words typed, in my opinion, I just wonder, are they the same? Are they the same? Some of you think that just because you're typing something and not saying it to somebody's face, that it doesn't have the same power. And I disagree, because anytime words are used, whether typed or whether spoken, they land. And if you would not say something to somebody's face, please don't type it out on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. Don't think that just because you're not saying it to their face, that it isn't still hurtful, because it is. Okay. And now listen, I always tell my clients that we need to have a tough skin if we're going to be building a business in the online space, because part of this is just going to come with the territory, right? But this podcast has nothing to do with us as business owners needing to have tougher skin. It has everything to do with us being consumers on the internet and commenters on the internet and people who are commenting. Like, this has everything to do with us needing to maintain some level of class and respect and have some standards for when we are typing out comments. If we can't comment something nice, we don't need to comment at all. Hard stop, period. Hard stop, period. Okay. So that's number one, reminding you that behind every social media account is a real life person. Number two, if you see someone coming at a creator in the comments, if you see people bashing one of your favorite creators, telling them that, their room design is hideous. And I'm not talking about me right now. I'm literally talking about, because I feel like God has really graced me in this area. I have a special level of grace, which is also, I think, why God's wanting me to do a podcast episode on this, just because I'm not upset. I do just want to hold us to a different standard. Okay. But if you see people coming at someone in the comments, and because there can be like a gang mentality where one person comments, gosh, that's hideous. And then they all start, oh, it is. I would never do that. Blah, 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 blah. If you see that, would you come to the defense of that person in the comments? Would you do that? Like, it's nice that night when I posted that, I got several texts from friends who were like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe how mean people are. And that was great, right? But what was even greater was seeing like my friend Dory, who owns Simple Southern Charm and is a designer who I run a lot of my mood boards by. When she posted in the comment, Jennifer, this is just going to be spectacular. I cannot wait to see that. Like, that is better. When people come to my defense, like my mom was like, my daughter always has great, that feels better than just getting that text privately. When you see something publicly that, that is not kind, would you come to the defense of that creator publicly versus privately? And if you have been someone, if you're a creator like myself, and you've really been working on that whole know, like, and trust factor, let me just tell you, building that community of people who know, like, and trust you, it so comes to your advantage in a situation where people are being mean in the comments, because I can tell you what, I have worked really hard at developing community with my followers. And I have a group of women who will be like junkyard dogs and they will come to my defense on posts. And that is a beautiful thing. And if you're one of those people, thank you so much. If you're one of those people who took time out to comments, be like, Jennifer, ignore all those. You're so good at color. You're so good. Like, and it's not that I was needing the compliments, but it just helps to offset the negativity that just gets heavy. It just gets heavy after a while. It's not that I'm mad. I'm just like, really? Like, can we not just be better than this? And I think that it's okay to expect people to be better than this. All right. So point number one was remember there's real life people like me running these accounts. Number two, if you see one of your favorite creators getting a bunch of negativity, jump to their defense publicly. And number three, can I just remind you that if you see something that you dislike, like my room board, or that you disagree with, like just scroll by. Just scroll by. Well, I thought you wanted people's feedback. Somebody said, nope, never asked for feedback at all. You've just gotten used to that because you've gotten used to bad behavior. And if enough people, like somebody said in my comments, I would think as an Airbnb owner that you would want to know what people think. Nope. There's plenty of times like on Instagram where I'm like, hey guys, I'm thinking of getting a Keurig or an espresso. What would you do if you were me? What would you most want at Airbnb? That's me asking you for an opinion. Okay. There are so few people whose, as creators, that our minds are going to be changed by what a lot of people put in the comments. Just because a lot of people didn't like my pink and orange mood board, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it. It just means that now, before I post more photos of mood boards, I'm going to pause. And I'm going to weigh the cost. And I'm going to try to determine, do I feel like putting up with BS in the comments or not? Because quite frankly, sometimes they get old. And this is why you see some of your favorite creators who have to take a step back from social media. They take a pause because sometimes it just gets heavy to deal with comments that I don't think as creators we should have to deal with. It gets old, friends. And again, this doesn't happen to me very often. But right now, I'm like, this is a public service announcement on behalf of small business owners. That's probably what I need to name this thing. Okay. And I'm not talking, by the way, that you should just scroll on by or not say anything if you're seeing something that theologically is very incorrect, okay? But even then, the Bible says in Matthew that we're supposed to like speak to our brother, if they're another Christian, alone, privately. So that'd be a good place for a conversation in the DMs. I'm talking about pictures of things I've made, the way I decorate. Scroll by, please, okay? So I just want to remind you of a couple things as we get closer and closer to the election here in the States. We're 2 months away from the election, a little less than, but the internet is going to get probably a little bit darker and darker. I'm not wanting to speak that over the internet, but I've lived through enough elections in the online space to know that the closer we get to the election time, a lot of times the more wound tight a lot of people are. And if you find yourself being wound tight, and you'll know you're wound tight when you snap at people in real life when you don't need to, when you pick fights over things that don't need to have fights done over them, when you comment negatively on things that you literally shouldn't. Those are all signs of being wound tight. And if that's you, like clear out your social media feed between now and the election. Get rid of following all the accounts that are political. If you're like, oh, I need to know what's going on, you're going to find out what's going on anyway somehow. It's not that you're burying your head in the sand, but you already know who you're voting for. And sometimes just that inundation. We are the first generation of people, you guys, people that are my age, 40s and 50s, who are being like inundated with information at every hour of the day, from the radio, from the televisions, from the phone that's in our hands. We can never get away from it. Stop following the people that are divisive. You don't have to watch all the videos that you see in your feed. You don't have to watch all the videos that your conspiracy theorist friends are sending you. Do you know how many Instagram reels are sent to me every day by followers that I've never met in real life because they know where I stand politically on some issues. So they send me like videos, that they want me to watch that are basically just reinforcing what I already believe. Like, I don't watch them. I love you and thank you for sending them, but I don't watch them. Too much consumption just steals your peace. So get rid of it. Quit consuming so much, and maybe you'll find yourself being nicer. Okay, so here's my challenge to you all, okay? I have 3 ways I'm going to challenge you. Is there 3 ways or just 2? Just 2. Remember that we always are going to reap what we sow. And this includes whatever we're sowing in the online space. Are you being a blessing to others with what you're typing in the comments? Are you encouraging? Are you giving to others online, or are you literally just taking? Because you're going to get back whatever you give, because God is a good accountant. Okay. And if you don't want people critiquing you, if you don't want people pointing out your faults or what they don't like about you, what you make, how you appear, etc., don't do it to others. I will remind you also that we will be held accountable for every word that proceeds from our mouth. That is what the Bible says. And I just wonder if that also applies to the typed word. I would say yes. It says we will give an account of every idle word that we speak. So you will reap what you sow. Also, if you're giving opinions when nobody has asked for them, I want to remind you that that is always interpreted as criticism. And as I said earlier, Dr. Phil said that. I've always remembered that. And I want to tell you real quickly then about a conversation that I had with Tracy West, who works for me. So Tracy has worked for Team Allwood for several years, and she's just fabulous. And she started an RV account because her and her husband live in an RV. Her name is Tracy West. So her TikTok account is called Way Out West, because her last name is West, RV Life. And it's fabulous. And she's had a couple things go viral recently. And so her and I were having this discussion about, my Facebook post. And she said, that people will say, well, I'm just trying to help. Her and I were like, please don't try to like disguise your crappy comment of, I'm just trying to help. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're trying to make sure that we know your opinion. You're trying to make us second guess. You're trying to make us feel bad. You're trying to just have verbal diarrhea. Please don't do that. You just trying to help is like your crazy Aunt Linda at Thanksgiving and Christmas, at every holiday, that always says crazy, offensive things. And everybody knows that Aunt Linda is a mean girl in the family, but everybody just lets her get by with it. Like, don't be that. Okay. Tracy said any comment that starts with, I'm not trying to be mean, that she knows something like completely mean and unnecessary is about to come after that. And I was laughing, saying, and when you have people who say like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I want to say, well, you're not trying to be rude, but you are. You may not be trying to be rude, but also the road to hell is paved with good intentions. My pastor always says. And Tracy said she's called a couple people out on her Way Out West RV Life account for unnecessary, mean comments. And some people have said back to her, well, you put your stuff out there on the internet, you should expect it. Nope. Nope. There is no other job where this is like the unwritten rule, that if you share anything on a public platform, that gives license for people to say whatever we want. There's no other job where that is what happens. And so I think that our culture has just fallen away from good behavior. We talk all the time in America, especially, about being kind. You see all these posts about being kind. What about being holy? Which I think as believers, we need to be focused on. I think kindness falls under that umbrella, by the way, but the scripture talks about whatever is honorable, whatever is just and pure and lovely and excellent and worthy of praise, to think on those things. So friends, this is my battle cry, just trying to call us up to some different behavior online, because the world is going to know us by our love. That's what scripture says. The world is not going to know us by our opinions that we're giving out on mood boards, on our opinions on political posts or anything like that. But it is going to know us by our love. So can you just be loving on social media? If you don't love something, just scroll on by. There's no need to even say that you hate how something looks. There just isn't. Because again, there's real life people who are running those accounts. Real life people have real life whoopsies. They just want to light. If you're watching me on YouTube, did you see that? I just about whacked myself in the head. But there's real life people. And so we can be better than this. Okay. I hope that this was just a good reminder for those of you who are listening, who I'm sure are already positive commenters. And So thank you for being that. And if you are a business owner, send this to another business owner, because my guess is there are people listening who are in business who this is one of the reasons you get hesitant to post things. And by the way, I went right back to posting even later that night. And I'm not mad, I'm not upset. I was just disappointed in the behavior of a lot of people because it was unnecessary. And words have a tendency to sting. And I just want people to remember that. We actually, for those of us that actually like read comments, you know, those posts can get heavy. So this is so much love to you. Thank you for those of you who listen to me here, for those who follow me online. Thank you for those of you who do like come in and say nice things. I appreciate that. And again, you are going to reap what you sow. So appreciate you, love you. We'll talk soon. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. All right, Easton, how did I do? Are you a kind commenter? Do you only comment when things are kind? I hope so.